So a lot of people can live with themselves. That's the first thing. A lot of people can live with themselves, look in the mirror and say, I'm okay with being afraid. I'm okay with going on this easy highway over here. The easy highway has all these fucking signs and shit, directions, how to get somewhere. And you have to first be uncomfortable with how you feel about yourself. With that voice that a lot of us like to run away from, we all have it. We all have that voice that say, hey man, you know, you're kind of wimping out right now. You're kind of being a little punk right now. But a lot of us say, okay, that's okay. It's okay to tell these little white lies to ourselves. So we first have to face the real you. The real me is David Goggins. The real me is a guy looking at you right now saying, I don't want to fucking be on this show right now because I used to stutter as a kid. And I'm afraid of that. I'm afraid that here in a second, I'm going to start fucking stammering and stuttering and the whole world is going to know that I have all these issues. But that's when I see right now, okay, Goggins, you got to go on this fucking show. That's Goggins. Goggins is saying, okay, David Goggins, you're a punk. Life made you this way. We can't live like this. We can't live in fear. We can't live in judgment. We can't be afraid of what the fuck people right now are looking at me saying about me. We cannot be afraid of that. That's Goggins. Goggins saying, fuck all of you who don't like me, who don't want to. And that person then comes in. But you have to be David Goggins and say, man, I'm afraid of this. I'm fucked up here. Life made me this way here. I stutter. I have these issues with reading and writing and I'm fat and I'm insecure. You have to face that in that dark room. In that dark room is who you are. But in that dark room is where you have to create another human being that walks out of that dark room to face who you are. That's the only way you're going to get over all those things. You have to create someone else. Not like you have two different personalities. It is you. But you have to find strength. And that visualization of almost me cracking out Goggins, like almost like that Superman cape, like I'm coming out a different person, a person that doesn't give a fuck about anything, who doesn't care about being judged, who knows I'm weak, who knows I'm afraid, who says, whatever you think about me, take it, whatever, I'm here. That's Goggins. In the dark room, you face yourself, you realize you want to be better, you realize you don't want to be this weak, insecure person in the world who has all these problems that we all have. We all have. Social media is a great platform to tell you who we want to be, not who we are. So that's where that dark room is.
So one of the techniques that I use when dealing with these kind of people is I absorb. I absorb their critiques. I absorb their toxicity. I absorb their negativity. Now, obviously, this takes a little bit of strength, right? You can't be taking stuff personally. You have to, in order to learn how to absorb things, you gotta say, okay, I'm just doing this for the team, right? Mm-hmm. But it looks like, for instance, when they say, oh, this is horrible, I don't say, no, it's not horrible. I don't just go right back at them. I say, yeah, you know what? We definitely got some room for improvement, right? So I kind of just deflected it. And I kind of just absorb it, right? Absorb it a little bit. Because what they want to do is they're lashing out, right? They're throwing the negativity. They like those explosions. They like to see it hit something and blow up. That's what they're doing. That's how they roll. So you're going to absorb. You're going to catch it and pull it in, right? The last thing I want to do with someone that's being super negative is I want to give them some ownership. I want to give them some ownership, some ability to make changes, some ability to have some kind of a positive impact on the mission. So I'm going to pick something that I think they can step up and handle, right? Something that is within their grasp and realm and ability, and I'm going to give it to them. And then I'm going to give them kind of overload them with help and with assistance and with guidance to make sure that they win. And that's going to start spinning them in a more positive direction. Yeah. So that's my way to deal with the big negative people out there. Just absorb and slowly counter.
You face it every day. You face it every single day of your life where you say, okay, like if you're fat, you need to lose weight. It's patience. It's patience in this fact of accepting who you are right now. I'm fat. I don't like myself. Accepting the fact that if you lose 3 or 4 pounds, that's a huge accomplishment. You have to live in your own fucking world. You cannot judge yourself. That's why social media and all these things are horrible. You can't judge yourself off of the so-called competition that we have made up in our mind. the things that, how people look, how people act, how smart someone is. This is a race that you run completely alone. And you're all by yourself. I had tons of sticky notes all over my mirror. It wasn't like, be better than John or be as fast as whoever. Okay, David, yesterday you did this. Today, our next goal for the week is this. So I had a year goal, weekly goals, daily goals, hourly goals, and the big goal was I lied a lot growing up. I wanted to be accepted. One goal was, let's go one day without lying. Let's go one day. And then when I would lie to somebody, I would say, hey man, now I had to go back now and apologize. Say, hey man, I lied to you. You know how hard it is to go back to somebody and say, I lied to you? Hey man, you know what? Back there, I lied to you, dude. I was really jacked up. So I figured out these ways of total accountability. Like right now, I had to run this morning before I talked to you. Because why? That's what I'm about. I'm about mind, body, fitness. A lot of folks talk so much shit about, hey, I'm gonna change your life. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Are you accountable for what you're doing? Are you accountable? And I mean to the T for what you're saying. I am. And that's where it started. It started with that total accountability of, let's not lie today. Let's tell people the truth about who you are. And when you can get on and tell someone, like I'm doing right now, exactly how fucked up you are, that's the goal in life. To put your life on a billboard, on the busiest road, in the busiest highway in the world, and say, this is how fucked up I used to be. Take it or leave it.
Dr. Alfred Golson, who has since passed, was a very unusual guy. And he told me, he said, Mr. Brown, you have cancer. I said, can you give me a second opinion? He said, yes, and you're ugly too. I didn't have a chance to have fear because those three words, you have cancer, are three of the most feared words in 7 different languages. I saw it as a fight. And from that time to this time, my PSA was 2,400. And that stands for prostate-specific antigen, and now it's below 0 and metastasized to 7 areas of my body, which was a good thing because 7 is my lucky number. Okay, so I never was fearful that I was going to die from it, and I think that I read something by Dr. Norman Cousins. He wrote a book called The Biology of Hope, and he talked about the fact that when something happens to you, you don't deny it, you defy it. And I was defiant that I'm going to beat this, I'm going to handle this. That there are people who many times when something happens to them, that they embrace it from a place of fear and it takes them out. And L.C. Robinson said, things may happen to you and things may happen around you, but the most important things are the things that happen in you. And you have to stand up inside yourself and deal with it and handle it. So fortunately, that never bothered me, but I had sciatica pain. That had me speaking in unknown tongues. And I was in a wheelchair for several months, speaking from a wheelchair. And it was something that I dealt with that frightened me. Will this ever end? It was 24 hours. I lost a lot of sleep. It was exhausting, going from all type of specialists in and out of the country. And just one day, it stopped. And I'm glad that I'm past that. I feel like when you go through some stuff, there's some certain things that you don't want ever to see again, and that's what I don't want to ever see again. But fear has not been the biggest challenge that I've faced with the things that I've been dealing with in terms of my health.